Hey there, Mama, and welcome back to the Mom's Overcoming Overwhelm podcast. I'm Emily McDermott, and I am here beside you on this journey as we work together to declutter your home, head, and heart. You may notice that today is a bonus episode rather than a regular episode. That is because this past week has been a doozy. We had to prepare my home for showings. We had a whole weekend of showings and open house. And now we actually do, just a couple days later, have a signed contract on the house, which is great. We're also home searching in Pennsylvania, where we're moving to. So I decided to bring you a conversation with my friend, Michelle Byrd. It's another episode of Coffee and Tea with M&E. But today we're mostly talking about how to prioritize in busy seasons when things are a bit crazy. So as you can imagine, I had a lot to say, and I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I will be back next Thursday with a regular episode. So without further ado, grab the notebook and pen or your coffee and tea and listen to this conversation with my friend, Michelle Byrd. Hey Mama, are you tired of your cluttered home and mile-long to-do lists but are too overwhelmed to know where to start? Do you lack the time and motivation and don't think you'll ever conquer the clutter? You're in the right place. I'm Emily, wife, boy mom, and declutter coach who has overcome the overwhelm in my own life through decluttering and simplifying. I believe every mom deserves the peace that comes from a clutter-free home. Ready to get your life back? Let's declutter your home, head, and heart together.
Hey friends, we are back with an episode of Coffee and Tea with E, and we are hanging out. We have Emily McDermott with us, and we're talking all things craziness with summer coming up, May coming up, Maycember. Emily has a lot on her plate, so she'll talk a little bit about all of that and just how we make decisions, I feel like, in this time where we have lots of stuff coming at us.
Yes. Well, yeah, I always feel like I have a nice therapy session with you. It helps me process like all the things I'm going through and then hopefully be able to provide some guidance and help for our other, overwhelmed moms out there because yeah, this is kind of like a little bit of nut calm, but I don't even want to say that because like you were saying, it is like you can just look out and this tidal wave is coming and you're like, oh, I should maybe prepare for that, maybe.
You look around and you're like, what am I supposed to prepare with? Yeah, you just know it's coming. So I feel like May, everything's trying to wrap up before summer. Like if you're in activities, all the activities are trying to wrap. All the sports are trying to wrap up. So you have games and you have, end of the year sporting events and you have parties and you have, the coaches' gifts. And then you also have finals and you also have senior stuff and you also have graduation. And then you also have AP classes. What else do we have? Awards things that we can just see everything's trying to wrap up.
Yeah. And then you may have a child who was born at the end of May. Then you have birthday party to throw in there. And yeah, I think this is the time where I'm like, okay, end of April, like I need to start planning some of this stuff, like the end of year kind of teacher gifts and that kind of thing. And if I don't kind of do that proactively, then I have definitely been the person in Target where all the gift cards are like baby shower. And I'm like, no, I can't give that to a teacher. Something that's not baby shower. And I've been caught with that before where it's just like I waited too long. And then I get really frustrated with myself for not doing some of the pre-planning. But the problem is it's not like we have this like quiet stretch of time. We have everything else happening at the same time while we're also trying to plan for the future. And that's the challenge I've been having lately since we're selling our home right now and searching for a home in Pennsylvania is that my capacity is more limited. So like I have to really focus on the prioritization of what I'm doing because if I don't, then I'll go down like a Zillow rabbit hole. Oh, let's look at this. Yeah, this floor plan, instead of like, oh, what are we having for dinner this week? So that's kind of where I've been at lately, like with my headspace for sure.
Yeah. Well, you have a lot on your plate. So how do you kind of decide like, okay, I have 15 zillion things to do. What is the most important?
Yeah, for me and everyone processes things differently for sure. But for me, I am a big fan of writing things down. Like if it is just all in my head, then it makes me miserable, especially like before I go to bed, or if you wake up in the middle of the night and then you kind of have this like 2 a.m., you're like, oh, what are the things I need to do? I try as much as possible to kind of do kind of your run of the mill brain dump, but then I'm really looking at kind of what absolutely has to be done within certain time periods, what could be grouped with other things. Is there anything that I absolutely can put off? What are the things I can't put off? Like it is something. And then also, I guess the other part would be I'm trying to be as like calm and objective as possible, because it's really easy to get caught up in kind of the emotional craziness of it all, and also comparison. So a lot of the things that you were mentioning has to do with like getting gifts or like parties and these things. It's very easy to compare ourselves to maybe what other people are doing, or what we like perceive other people are doing, or thinking we have to say yes to all of the parties and activities and end of school things. And it's really just stepping back and being like, okay, what is my capacity? What am I able to do? What do I really want to do? What do I not want to do? Instead of getting caught up in kind of like what everyone else is doing, because I feel like that alone could drive me crazy.
Yeah, you don't have time for that. You have time for the comparison and the mom guilt and other things that are all fed through that pipeway. You are in a space where you're like, all right, I gotta like hunker down and figure out what's the most important.
Yeah, I think part of it is like really the non-negotiables. So we need food, we need clean clothing, like the kids need to go to school and have certain things they need to bring with them on certain days. And besides that, it's really like, okay, I'm not going to overcommit us. I'm not going to be like, I guess, yeah, feeling the mom guilt of, oh, it's soccer season, so I have to make sure I sign up for multiple snack days or something like that. Like, it's okay right now for me to let other people step in. And then also, I've really been asking for help a lot more. Whereas before, maybe I would just be like, no, I'm good. Like, I can handle this. I'm used to doing this. But this is not a normal season for me. So being able to ask friends, I had to ask a friend for tomorrow because the children are off school again randomly. And I'm like, I'm leaving like to go out of town. Could you please watch the kids for a couple hours so my husband, can work? And my friend was really more than willing to do it. But it was such a load off my mind, not having to figure out like a partial day camp or like inconvenience my husband, and just being like, it's okay sometimes to lean on other people, even if it's not like quote unquote equal. Like just because I haven't watched her kids the same amount of times that she's watched mine, and that would normally like kind of give me that pause, like, oh, I don't want to ask. I've just been going, no, I am going to ask, because otherwise I'm just going to be way too stressed out. So that's been some things I'm learning in this season, because I could burn out so easily right now. And I'm trying very hard not to.
I think with this season, everybody knows that you have a lot on your plate. So it's a little bit easier, and people want to help, like especially people that are close to you or like friends, or, they see like, oh, you're doing all this stuff. This is a lot. Like, how can I help? But oftentimes I know I feel this way when somebody's sick, or when, there's somebody has like a problem, and I'm like, oh, how can I help? How do you want me to help? And instead they just, if they ask, if they say, hey, can you do my laundry? Or could you bring me dinner? Or can you watch my kids? I need to run to this thing. I would be more than happy to be like, that's great, because they're telling me what exactly I could do to help them. So I think for on the other end, it's like so freeing to be like, yeah, is that the way I can help? Great. I got it. I can pick up your kids. I'm already going there to pick up my kids. Like, it doesn't matter when you have 1 or 2 or 15, you just throw them all together.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And then also we've been relying on our family members to actually do some home tours for us.
Oh, that's
since
awesome.
We're moving out of state. And I just keep apologizing. I'm like, I'm sorry, the pictures looked really great on these places. And then you go and it's kind of not what you were expecting. But just knowing that they're so willing, because they want to be able to help us, like to help us get settled child to help us be able to kind of, settle into our new home. And so that's another thing where normally I would kind of pause or be like, I'm not sure. Like, I feel like I'm asking too much. But a lot of times that's not the case. And like you said, for our friends and family, they care about us and they want to be able to help us. And maybe they've wanted to help us in the past, but just didn't know how. So just telling them specifically, this is how you can help me, then that's even better. Because I know, especially when people are going through hard seasons, like maybe they've had a death in the family or something, we feel like we want to be able to help, but we're like, well, what do I do? Like, do I just cook them food and bring it over? But if you do say, what would be the most help to you? And they're like, oh, I would just love it if you folded my laundry. Like, great. Like, that's something that, it just seems like small, but then in the grand scheme of things, it's actually really helpful.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And I bet your relatives love going and looking at places, no matter how dumpy they end up being. I bet the idea of like, oh gosh, let's go check out this new place. I bet it's kind of fun.
Oh, yeah, they love it. And our realtor is such a good sport because I'm like, okay, there's going to be 1 to 4 people coming on this tour. It's either like both my parents and both my in-laws or some sort of combination. But it is really a blessing because it's very hard, especially now with AI and how photos are kind of not really realistic. It's very hard for people, I think, to select a home really sight unseen and be able to make some of those decisions. So yes, I've been in this season while things have been so crazy and stressful, I have been really grateful for our support system and just, I don't know, it's one of those things where you kind of don't think about it much until you need to use it. And I've had to use it a lot. So I'm really, really grateful for that.
It's all good. Once you move in there, you'll be able to help them in other ways.
Yeah.
It'll all work out. That is so funny though with AI. I hadn't thought about that of like it probably can skew pictures or make it look like an area is bigger than it is or something isn't there in the backyard that is.
We had an issue with that. It made it look like the front yard was beautiful and lush and plush. And then they all got there and it was like weeds and dandelions and like patches of grass. And it was really bad. Like, how is this legal to have these photos that are just completely misrepresentative? But yeah, so it is kind of a new sort of shift, I think, in the home search process, which we weren't anticipating. But I think the other thing in this season is I really have to let go of outcomes because it's like people are interested in our house, it might fall through. We might put a bid in on another house, it might fall through. And there's really only so much I can do to prepare our home. I was trying to get it to be like spotless and perfect and gorgeous for the open house and for all the showings. But that's impossible. Like you can't, make it perfect. And even if you did, it wouldn't guarantee that somebody would buy it. So I've had to really shut down the perfectionism because I find it creeping up because I feel like, well, if I make the house look completely perfect and spotless, then somebody will buy it right away. And it's not necessarily how it works.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I know for our house, I staged it all myself when we were selling it. And then we just had, Ashley was a baby. She wasn't even 1. And so, but our house was on the market for 10 months. And so whenever somebody would call and say, I need to come over, I'd have to leave the house with her, make sure things were like picture perfect, beautiful, and that I left the house with her and we went wherever, to a park, to Panera, to like some other place. And it got to be like a lot. So I'm so glad you're letting go of that because it will sell when God wants it to sell and he'll work everything out.
I know. Yeah. And that's something I'm constantly reminding myself. I'm kind of like, okay, it is going to work out regardless. It's just having all of it's like kind of like you say that you want to do a puzzle and you really want to complete a puzzle, but you can't start with any of the pieces. Like nothing is ready to start. And I'm a corner piece person when I do puzzles, if I do them at all.
Like
and I'm like,
outside.
yes. And I'm like, okay, we just have to get these 4 corners in place and then we can start to fill it in. And I can't even like do that right now. And that has been just kind of in that in between place. I don't do well there, but I know from previous seasons that is the area where you have a lot of growth, and you also realize how you need to rely on other people, how you need to have non-negotiables, how I still have to take care of myself regardless of all of this like craziness swirling around me. And so it makes you more aware of those things that you need to have in place because you can't control any of it, especially when it comes to this whole lovely home selling, home buying process.
It's so stressful, the whole process. It's not even like a car where you can trade it in and you kind of like know. It's like a whole weird timeline thing because you're like, I don't know. Well, if our house sells at this time, then we can use that money and then we can buy this other house over here. But we can't quite buy that one and now this one. And we're not really know which one we want to get. I mean, it's a whole thing. You can't, you feel like it's a weird timing issue too, because the timing isn't like in one line.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say that the kids have been doing a great job. I am seeing kind of their resilience coming through, even kind of like right now. And also, just like you said, with kind of these end of year things that are coming up and whatever, it's not that I'm just saying blanket, like, oh, we're going to go to all of them. Like, no, we need to be able to kind of pick and choose what sort of works right now because we're trying to do all of this stuff with the house, and they're being really understanding. So that's good too, because it's not pleasant when you know that you're kind of limited with your capacity, but then your kids have all these things that they're like, no, but we have to do. We have to do all of these things, So, and luckily we don't have any graduating kiddos, we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. But yeah, I can imagine that would add a whole other layer of complexity when you have all that there.
I know we only have an eighth grader. And so it's like, oh, promotion. Okay. But we only have one, which is in 2 years. Ashley and Enoch will both graduate at the same time. She will graduate from high school and go to college, and he will do a promotion or graduation from eighth grade into high school. And so that will be like our big year in like
Yeah.
a couple years of all the things. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many senior things at school. And like, oh my goodness, I don't know how I'm gonna. That's a lot. I'm glad we don't have that this year.
Me too.
How are your boys doing with everything? I'm sure it's tough, like leaving buddies and moving, but are they excited to be like family or grandparents and they're gonna get tons of attention?
Yes, they are. They definitely are. And they are sad about leaving friends, but they're not resentful. I think they're not like, you're taking me away from everything. I think they understand, especially since my husband is going to be starting, this new business. They're kind of excited. Oh, how can we help? Like, can we do something, to help daddy? So that's been really positive, and they like spending time with their cousins. I do have one. My nephew is a graduating senior, but my niece is there. And so I think that they'll be excited to spend time with their grandparents. And we have aunts, uncles, cousins, all those people there. So it is, I think, a good time in their lives that this is happening. Luckily, that has not been a source of stress. But even you're talking about Ashley being a baby and you had to like kind of be out and about. That was us for the weekend. We were definitely at Panera.
Right?
But yeah, but like it was hard because when you spend a majority of your time at home, and we don't go out to eat very often, it's like, but you have to like eat out and you have to find bathrooms and you have to.
You just want to be home. You just want to be
I
like on the
know.
couch and like just chilling at your own home, especially introverts. I don't know about your family, but three of mine are definitely like they don't really want to be anywhere else. They recharge at home. And so to be away from home for that long is tough.
Yeah. So we're hoping that we won't have to do many more of those. I think that they're going to be fine with the transition. And then also it's nice to kind of have a fresh start with figuring out like, okay, what sort of activities do we want to do? Maybe looking for a new church, kind of what are we looking for when it comes to that? And just taking kind of one thing at a time, just that when we move in, we don't have to figure everything out right away. It could be we're there for the summer. Maybe we don't do any sports in the fall. Maybe we're still kind of figuring out the lay of the land, and that's okay. So just having a lot of like grace for the timeline knowing that we'll be settling in. And then also with my husband starting the business, I'm going to be helping in some capacity. And so I'm not going to be in a rush to do things with my business right away, and just being okay with that. It's okay to just sort of be in a season where I'm helping him get things ramped up. And then I can kind of move into what I do. Because luckily, no matter where you move, people need help decluttering and organizing. So I'm not too worried about getting clients eventually.
Yeah. And you're so good at it. And you work so well with people to just be kind and gracious and help them move forward and make progress in all their stuff. And I love that you can do it virtually or in person. So you have that aspect of doing it and all the things. It'll just work. And I'm glad you don't feel stressed about it, that you can take a step back and take a minute. You even could start a wait list. I can't work with you right now, but I can work with you in 3 months.
Yeah, I definitely am planning to do that. And then also, I think it might open up some other potential customers. For example, I know it seems kind of silly, but with my husband going into this flooring company, if people want to renovate their houses, but they're like have too much stuff to be able to do it, then it can kind of be that I perhaps partner and be like, oh, okay, well, I'll help you kind of clear out all the extra stuff from your kitchen before you renovate, your kitchen floor or something like that. So,
That's great.
yeah,
That's
I think
huge.
there might be some synergy there, which would be nice. And that is another way that I can just kind of like ease into it. Again, being okay with when you're going through a transition, the puzzle pieces don't have to be all in place right when you're there.
Right.
And knowing it's going to be messy, like the kids are going to have big emotions, and I'm going to be the primary person with, Pat starting the business. I'll be the primary person needing to kind of help them through that, and to make myself like available for that and have that margin and space to be able to support my kids and the new schools. And, there's just a lot
A
that's
lot.
going to be new for them. Not that it's bad, but it's going to be a change. And there's a lot of emotions that are going to come up with the change for all of us. So that's why I'm not planning a ton for the summer, even just like the summer plan is that we're moving in and settling in, and that's it.
So you're planning to move after the school year?
Yeah.
Nice.
So like end of June, and then Pat starts in his new job mid-July, and then they'll be, of course, going back to school like late August. So I think it's going to fly by. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it will. But I love that you have already thought through that you've already planned, like, we don't have to do all of this at once. We don't have to like pack everything up, sell our house, buy this other house, unpack everything, find new schools, find new things. You can take a deep breath and say, let's do one thing. We're doing one puzzle piece. And then we're going to do a couple more puzzle pieces. And if we don't find a church for a year or 6 months or whatever, it's okay.
Yeah.
We'll do a couple more puzzle pieces.
Yeah, I wish I was that calm when I said it in my head. You're like, it's okay. I'm like, usually like, it's gonna be okay. Please
It'll be
tell me
okay.
it's gonna be okay. Yeah, my husband is great at like calming me down. I'm like, hey, hun. He's like, what? I'm like, can you just tell me everything's gonna be okay? He's like, everything's gonna be okay. I'm like, all right, great. I just sort of need that validation because I think a lot of us do. Like, we have a tendency to spiral, about
Mhm.
something. It could
Yeah.
be really anything, but especially when it's kind of like a time of year where you have so much going on, there's lots that can be triggering. And so just being able to recognize that and then kind of take that step back and be like, okay, what's, like you said, like one thing I can do or one thing that could be helpful, and just kind of put the rest sort of on that back burner for now and focus on this one thing now.
Yeah, I love that. Of like, as we kind of come back to what we're talking about of like, how do you know things are urgent? What thing to do first, all those kind of different ideas. And just as you said, like taking one thing at a time, like we're just going to focus on this one thing. And usually that one thing is the most urgent, I've found. Now, one puzzle piece that you first start with, like, what is the task I need to do right now? Is the most urgent thing. And then you kind of move on to like the second most urgent, and then things a little bit down the road. But if you just take one thing at a time, it may seem a bit easier.
Yeah. And I was just thinking about things like, meal planning, like I'm kind of behind on that. Like normally I would have done that over the weekend and I would have already picked my groceries, and that didn't happen, and it's okay. And so
Right.
it's just like, okay, well, this isn't going exactly how it normally goes. However, maybe we normally have pizza once a week. Perhaps that's happening twice a week this week, but not like we could talk about this a lot, that you and I do, not being judgmental about that. Like, oh, why couldn't you get it together and like plan more in advance? Be like, no, it's okay. People are still getting fed. Like, that's the thing. Like, what is the important thing here? The important thing is that my kids are getting fed. The important thing is that they have, clean clothes for soccer. This is actually kind of funny with soccer. So we were out and about all day Saturday, and the boys had 2 separate soccer games. And so we left the house at maybe 9 something. We had the cleats, we had the clothes to change into, we had everything with us since we couldn't go home. And my first son had finished his soccer game. The second one was getting his stuff on for it. And I go, oh my gosh, I forgot his soccer socks. So we took the sweaty socks from the other brother and just gave them to the other one. Because we're like, they're going to get sweaty and yucky anyway. Sorry, we can't go home for socks. And it was fine. But that was something where I would have been like, what are we going to do? Like, I don't know what to do. Do we have to go buy socks in the next 15 minutes? And my husband's like,
Great.
Andrew can just use Sean socks. I'm like, yeah, but when you get in your head that things have to be a certain way, then it's really hard to see alternate options. And sometimes you need someone to be like, did you think about it this way? Like, or you can let that go. Like, you don't have to do it that way, even though that's your norm. This can be an exception and it's okay. So I'm embracing the exceptions in this season, I guess is one way to put it.
I love that. Yeah, we had a similar episode where we were at school and I was taking one kid or both kids to volleyball games, and one of them didn't have their PE shorts. They're dark blue, and so he was just going to wear dark blue shorts with his shirt, his volleyball shirt. Okay, great. But somebody had stole his PE shorts. Okay, great. So usually that wouldn't be a problem. You would just go find them, or the next day you'd find the person. But we're leaving to go to a volleyball game and you have pants on and you have no shorts. And so what do we do? So yeah, that was hang on, time out. Let's see how we can solve this problem, because we can't go half an hour back home and then past the school another half an hour to go get to the game in traffic. So what are we going to do? So we were able to find the athletic office and one of the coordinators in there for junior high, and she was amazing. She's great. So she said, not to worry. She said, we have a bucket over here of lost and found clothes, and look through there, see if there's something that you can use. And if you really like it, just keep it. If you don't, wash it, bring it back.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah. And again, you're panicking. You're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? What are we supposed
You
to
go to
do?
Target? How do we find blue shorts?
But yeah, I think it is kind of, lifting yourself up out of that spiral. And then, of course, if you do have other resources or people that can think about it in a different way, that's really helpful. And that's been really saving me lately. And also just kind of when people are experts in a certain area, like you said, that was that, the liaison, let them help, let them, they have that expertise, let them help. Or in my case, I'm with our home search, things are not kind of what we expected, or there's not as much inventory as we thought. I'm am I missing something here? So we call the realtor, what are some things that we can do? How can we maybe figure this out in a different way? And just leaning on the people that are experts in what they do, because we don't have to be the ones to figure everything out for ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing of embracing grace, that you don't have to be the one to figure it out, embracing that it may not look what you need to look like, and embracing that the solution that you have may not be he has beautiful clean socks and we remembered everything perfectly from home. It may be he's wearing his brother's sweaty socks and it's okay.
Yeah.
Life's okay.
And life's okay. That's right.
We're pizza for the rest of this week and everybody's going to eat cereal for breakfast and we're all going to still survive and life will be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah, you just have to kind of change your mindset of it's okay. Like, as you said, the main things are cared for. I love how you always say there's like a ceiling and like a floor. And what on some days when you have hard days, you just have to get the floor things done, like the basics. Like, we're all still alive. We're all still eating something. We made it to school on time and we're all dressed. Like, keep like,
I know. I can't remember whether I shared this with you or not, but I heard someone say, like, lower the bar and then get a shovel. And it is my new favorite thing to say or to think. I'm like, okay, well, the bar was already pretty low, but we're going to make it lower by digging a hole so we can get it lower. But that is okay because it doesn't have to be this permanent place or that you're giving up or that you don't care. It's just that this is an intentional choice that I'm making in the moment to do that. And actually, Kendra Adachi, I was listening to one of her recent episodes about feeding people. It shouldn't be this rocket science, right? But we keep coming back to it like, like, why can't this be easier? And she was talking about having like planned hot dog days, meaning that a lot of times that's the thing where it's like, oh, everything has been crazy and nothing is how it's supposed to be. And fine, let's just have a hot dog, whatever. I don't care at this point. As opposed to, I know that that day is going to be a really busy day for me. I'm just going to plan the hot dogs. And it's not like you've given up or you've done something wrong or you didn't plan right. It's that I'm going to plan for something incredibly easy, and that's okay. Like, we do that, like breakfast for dinner, or what I call foraging, which essentially means like you find something right in the fridge or you make like oatmeal or cereal and you're fine. So sometimes it's like, okay, well, today's a foraging day. And my husband's like, great. And I say to the kids, will you eat oatmeal? And they go, sure. And then it's fine. And it's not like, oh, I can't believe I forgot to defrost the chicken, or oh, I can't believe that I got so caught up in something I didn't, make dinner in time. So I just feel like it's just, I know, and maybe it's getting older. I'm just like kind of done with the mom guilt and shame stuff. It's just, I'm over it at this point.
right. It's too much. Like, yeah. And not everybody holds to that same level either. Everybody has a pizza night or a night where they're like, we're just going to have cereal. Like, you don't have a perfect meal every night and sit down and your family's perfect and they're happy to talk to one another and nobody's grumpy and, you don't have homework till 9 o'clock and also a sports game. And, you have life and it often gets turned upside down, or the direction you are going in your day suddenly changes and you have to just pivot with it.
Yeah. And I have found, because the weekend was very disruptive for us.
Oh,
So
bet.
it was this morning, we're recording this on a Monday. I was like, okay, these are kind of those foundational things that I always do that I want to make sure that are in place today. And if I can just do some of these foundational things, that's kind of like my normal rhythm. Like it's, and I can pretty easily get back to that normal rhythm because I don't have like 500 things on the list that are included in that. It just might be that I'm having a really nourishing breakfast and I'm making sure that I leave on time for certain things, get a load of laundry in, like some of the, and then also like really protect my sleep and do certain things to make sure I have a good night's sleep. Like those are kind of like the bookend things of my day that the other stuff doesn't happen how I want. Like, for example, I forgot about defrosting some chicken. So we're trying to do that in water, as we're recording this, then it's okay. And then I don't have to, I don't know, kind of like beat myself up about it.
Yeah, definitely. And also knowing that if you didn't meal plan this week, as you said, it doesn't mean that you're never going to meal plan again. It might just mean that this is a tough week and give yourself a little bit of grace.
Yeah.
I love the idea of like, what can you hand off to? Like, as you said, I'm in a super busy season right now and it's extra busy. I'm not going to bring snacks for this thing, or I'm not going to stress about teachers' gifts. I'm going to give them all Amazon gift cards online and I'm going to email everybody their gift card and they will be excited. And, what can you do that's just a little easier and let other moms and other people take on a little bit more? Because I think oftentimes it's somebody's already doing the snack and they're happy to bring extra snack another time. It's not a big lift. But for you, it may be a big lift. So you ask, those other people, "Ooh, can you do these other things?"
Yeah. And I think so. I just did my kids' career fair, which was actually really fun because I was able to, I had my little like trifold and it said podcasting, poetry, and decluttering. And the kids were like, what? Like, what is that?
What?
It's like, make your own career. But knowing that I did that, even though I have volunteered for like end of school year parties in the past, to just be like, I don't have to. Like, just because I have done those activities in past years, I was just doing the career fair, which I had never done before. So it's not like you have to maintain all of these things that you have done before and do them forever. It could be that you are contributing or participating in other ways that are completely valid, and you can let some of those things go. And like you said, give the opportunity for other people to participate that may not have been able to do it before.
Right. Because we all are rolling on different seasons, right?
Yeah.
And it may be, as you said, there's somebody who had a senior and now they don't, so they have more time, or it's somebody that, they had extra things that they've already taken care of, so they're not as busy. It's all like a little bit different. So if you can't do it, step back, let somebody else do it. As we kind of wrap up today, is there anything else you can think of that we should kind of leave moms with as going into this next busy season and talking about how we can kind of triage our projects or step back or what we need to do? I think it's really important to kind of look at, as we said, what things do we have on our plate and do we have to do all of them? Can somebody else do some of them? All that kind of stuff. Is there anything along those lines that you can think of that would be helpful?
Yeah, we've talked about this in the past, but for different reasons. I think we talked about this when it comes to like summer activities, but really asking your kids what is important to them.
Mm.
Because you may think like, oh, my kid has this field trip and they really want me to chaperone. And then you ask the kid and they're like, no, it's okay. I don't need you there. And I'm like, okay. But like here I was thinking, oh, I have to do this. And how am I going to arrange my schedule and whatever? So when it comes to a lot of these end of school year type of things, really getting their feedback or even framing it as, hey, you're going to be a couple of busy months. I'm trying to figure out what's most important for me to help with at school. Here is the different things coming up. What are your top one or two things that you really want to do? If it's like I don't know, like an art show or like some sort of PTA event or whatever. And what things are you okay with skipping, or maybe I'm skipping? And the answers just may surprise you. I know they've surprised me when I've asked my kids about things. So just not making assumptions that because you're not going to be doing every single thing that you're somehow failing your kids. Ask them what they think and let them help you prioritize those activities.
Love that because it's so true. And it's so funny. We have an art show coming up this week that I was going to ask Ashley about. I see that you have an art club like thing and you're going to be presenting art. Do you care if anybody comes? So yeah, I think those are so important because we think everything is important and they're really going to care about all these things. And then we get really guilty if we can't make it to that. And we like, my youngest had a wax museum where he was like talking and he was Zeus, I think, and blah, blah, blah. And I couldn't make it to it. And so I asked, is it okay if I don't make it? Daddy's going to come to it. He'll record it for me. And he's like, it's fine. And then he did it and it was actually really loud. And so you couldn't really hear him anyway. And it was crazy. They had all like 10 kids reciting stuff in the same room and then more kids listening to it. And so it was just one big jumbled loud mess. And so it was like, it's fine. It was fine. But you never know. You think, oh my gosh, I have so much mom guilt that I couldn't make it and that I should have gone. And when really it wasn't that big of a deal. And maybe there's something else that is a big deal.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times I feel like we think we're like traumatizing our children because we're not there for every little thing, or like, oh, I missed the soccer practice, or oh, I missed this. And it's it's okay. If you think back on your own life, maybe your parents weren't there for every single one, or even if they were, you just remember, if at least for me, I just remember they were there. Like, I don't remember they were there for every single practice recital, like every single little thing, but they were there for me in general. So instead of being like, oh, well, if I don't go to this one thing, it's like the end of the world. It's more like the long game of being there for them, not only in those more visible moments, but I feel like in those other moments where they had a tough day and you ask about it and kind of being present. And I don't know, you know me, I always go back to capacity. It's like if we kind of burn out by feeling like we have to be there for all of the big things, then we don't have the capacity at home to just be like, hey, I noticed that you're kind of seem down, like what's up, like what's going on. Like we won't notice that because we're going to be so tired and burn out. So it's finding that balance, I think.
Yeah, such a good word. And we all need to find that balance and on all the little things that we know are coming our way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. It was so fun having you on the podcast today, and good luck with all the move and everything. And yeah, next time we talk, we'll have to connect and find out how everything's going.
Yes, I'm sure I will have some fun updates next time.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey Mama, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, could you please share this episode with another mom who is feeling overwhelmed? Also, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a 5-star written review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Finally, if you would like more support, come on over to our free Facebook group, tinyurl.com/moms overcoming overwhelm. Can't wait to connect with you soon.